We have probably just under $1 million in debt.
$1 million?
So what do you say to somebody that has found their passion, has found the thing that they enjoy, but it's the whole thing monetarily is just a trap?
Ruslan.
Some of you guys don't know, but I have been a follower, implementer of some of Dave Ramsey's plan for a long time. He helped me get out of debt 10 years ago. I still appreciate him. But in listening to, I've probably listened to about 1,000 Dave Ramsey podcasts. Even he was taken aback from the situation you guys are about to discover. So much so that Breaking Points decided to do a story about it. And the reason why I wanted to point this out is outside of the biblical principle of how to handle finances, the reality of what this means for our potential to walk into things that we believe we're supposed to be doing in specific seasons and what dabbling in this much foolishness can do to your life. Let's jump into this.
All right, Sagar, what are you looking at?
Well, like everyone else, it's always enjoyable to watch somebody dumb get their comeuppance on social media, from F around and find out fight videos to those confronted with wrongdoing. I spotted, though, a viral clip this weekend making the rounds from Dave Ramsey's show that many were viscerally reacting to, of a couple that has racked up $1 million in debt. Many are shocked and making fun of the couple while they're in the wrong. Their predicament, actually, though, is much more common than people think, and that's actually what makes it all the more horrifying. Let's take a listen to that.
We have probably just under $1 million in debt.
$1 million?
And we want to know how to get debt-free without filing bankruptcy.
Pause it. Look at Dave Ramsey's face. Even he's perplexed.
He's like, wait, did you say 1 million?
1 million with an M.
Okay, how much of that is a mortgage?
The mortgage, about $210.
Dave Ramsey coming out with like, okay, it's got to be Southern California.
They're
Clearly,
Southern California.
It's
They got $1 million home.
home, and they have $50,000 of between a car and credit card debt, maybe some student loans in there. Nah,
Yep.
They said 210.
So you have $600,000 in what?
335 is about in student loans. We both have advanced degrees, and then the rest is really credit cards and personal loans.
So you have $300,000 of credit cards and personal loans?
We have about 335,000 student loans and about 136,000 in credit cards, 44,000 personal loans, and 35,000 car loans.
It's a scam. It's a scam. What are we doing here?
Go ahead.
Okay, so to recap, they have $210,000 in mortgage debt, $335,000 in student loans, $136,000 in credit card debt, $44,000 in personal loans, and $35,000 in car loans. I get hives just thinking about that. Now, obviously, though, this woman and her husband are irresponsible. It is definitely their fault for getting into this situation. But when you keep listening and you look at where the bulk of the debt here comes from and how they do it, what they do, it becomes even crazier.
Okay. How old are you?
I'm 29.
So what in the world?
So, yeah.
I mean, are you both on this, or is this just one of you that's completely lost your mind?
Well, I have the majority of the student loans, and he has the majority of the credit cards. My credit card debt is not great.
Okay, so why is he at 29 years old run up $100,000 in credit card debt?
Well, he's 32, but I think it's one of those.
Hold on, pull it back.
Three more years.
Listen to this man's face. Look at this man's face.
Well, he's 32, but I think it's
Oh, you gotta love Dave Ramsey,
Dave
bro.
Ramsey's the GOAT, man. I probably wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't for Dave Ramsey. Like, from a life standpoint, and I'll come back to that. Make sure I come back to that, because I don't want to lose that thought.
those things where
But just from a content standpoint, go ahead.
making really poor financial decisions, thinking be able to pay it down as you go, and it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And
Okay, so you both have advanced degrees. What are your degrees in?
we do. So I have a degree. Both of our advanced degrees. No, he has an MBA, and I have an advanced degree in policy. I work in the government, and we actually both do now at this point. Actually.
Wow. Keep going.
Okay, so your household income is what?
Our household income is about $230.
Okay.
Pause it. Top 5%. Anything north of 130 is top 20%.
Really?
And so you're talking about top 5% of income earners.
Okay. So is it worth it?
Okay, recapping again. We have two Washington, D.C. based advanced degree holders who work for the federal government. One with a policy degree, presumably from a prestigious school.
He's slowly smiling as he's doing this because he knows he's making more money. Not working in Washington, D.C., working like from home pretty much, right?
Sure.
And doesn't have the advanced degree.
Another with an MBA. Together, they have racked up $1 million in debt and are now crawling to Dave Ramsey for help. You can laugh, But it's actually sad because while, yes, this is an extreme situation, some version of it is playing out across the entire country with people who are falling for, quote, what you should do. Note that the bulk of...
Now, that word right there,
Industry standard.
industry standard, should, Zach, I should have a Tesla X by now.
You have solar.
I got solar. I might as well get a Tesla X. Why not get a $1,500 car note? I should.
What are your friends going to think?
What are
if
my friends going to think if I'm driving a 06 Prius? I should.
Yuck.
That word should for your day-to-day life is the equivalent of industry standard for musicians that go on tours, gross 7 figures, and come back with like $30,000 because the industry standard is you have a road manager, a light manager, a sound manager, a roadie, an assistant, and a bunch of people in the green room that just do nothing because you should, and that is the industry standard. That is a dangerous, dangerous word when you go through this. So let's go back to Sagar.
Of the debt comes from one source, advanced degree student debt, a point I've been trying to make here for years. The vast majority of student debt held today is amongst advanced degree holders from universities, charging exorbitant prices and who know it will not work out financially for their graduates.
That's crazy because you also have to understand that most people aren't actually graduating.
That sucks.
Maybe not most, but like a good majority. And this is a beef I had when my wife graduated because we had to pay for the cap and gown. And I was like, I know your margins aren't that low. Your margins aren't that low that we need to spend $200 on the cap and gown. There's like a couple thousand students that owe the same amount that she does, but never had to graduate or never graduated, never got through.
Yep.
Take the profit, disperse it among the people that graduated, give them $200 cap and gown.
Yep.
Beefing.
Average amount of student debt that a master's degree holder in the United States holds is $80,000. For PhD holders in advanced degrees, it's $132,000. The average, and again, the average student debt is 145% higher. So while we can laugh at these people, consider that if you just double the average for PhD holders, then their amount of debt is roughly right on the money. Now, how did it end up for them? Their combined household income is $230,000. That's nice on paper, puts them solidly in the top 15% of American household income. Again, that sounds good.
Sorry, top 15%, not top 5%. That's my mistake.
Is it? Here, too, is important to consider averages. The average salary in the U.S. for a professional degree holder like this couple is about $100,000. Ergo, if you double their salaries and you look at their household earnings, it's exactly average. That's the point that I want to underscore here. On a glance, these people are nuts for racking up this amount of debt on their income. But when you begin to break it down, you see how average that they actually are. And you see how our entire economy and society is floated on a fake dream. Their mortgage balance of $210,000 is below average. The average mortgage balance in the U.S. is $236,000, actually rising as interest rates go up and people are defaulting on payments. Even on car loans, these folks are well within average. Americans borrow an average of $42,000 today for a new vehicle, $28,000 for used vehicles. Since they live in D.C. and the loan balance is relatively low, maybe we can assume one car. Again, solidly in the average category. Again, the one place, though, where this couple is truly extraordinary is their personal loans and credit card debt. Average household American and credit card dollars in personal loans is some $9,000. Only about $6,000 in credit card debt. Again, I'm saying only, but those are bad, and you should really zero that out as soon as possible if you are able to. But of course, not everyone can. In this case, they are well above average with credit card debt north of $130K and personal loans above $40. But let this sink in. Of the $1 million in debt that this couple has, only about 20% of it is above average for someone in their position. That's a lot less than most people think coming into the video. And that's what's more shocking to me. If these people were merely average in their category and income type, their loan balance could still be around $800,000. That's a pretty insane system that we have apparently forced an entire generation of aspiring career holders to be in. This is basically debt slavery. There is no way in the world you will ever work your way out of variable interest on $330,000 in student debt. That's a lifetime noose. That is why way before student debt forgiveness, you have got to penalize and tax these corrupt universities.
Come on.
And put people in this position, and it is why we need to understand being average today is actually a bad deal for many Americans, even those seemingly at the top. Consider this chart put together by CNBC. The cost of
Did you catch what he said? Being average today is a bad deal.
Yeah, man.
And these folks are above average in terms of their income. This is insanity.
That's nuts.
Keep going.
has now gone dramatically up just to sit inside of your house. Appliances, electricity, tools, hardware, cable TV, total prices are up by at least 13%. If you want to take a vacation or do anything leisurely, you are going to get charged massive astronomical prices for it. The price of existing today means thousands of dollars in debt and the inability to make even your most basic ends meet while remaining relatively financially whole. So when you watch that video, don't just think about how dumb the couple is. Think about how dumb the country is for creating so many people who are just like that. I mean, that's kind of a...
So here's something I want you guys to think about. There's a ton of variables in here. One, there's the federally insured student loan scam. The government insures student loans, meaning that you can never wipe them out. They're there with you forever. Okay. The cost of universities has substantially went up the moment the government started federally insuring student loans. Okay, so there's that. By federally insured, I mean like the same way up to $250,000 of your bank account is federally insured. In the same way, your student loans are federally insured. So there's that. Then there's probably where they live, which is probably expensive. Then there's, I think, a big chunk of this is lifestyle creep. Lifestyle creep is when you start making more, you start spending more, and you feel entitled to. This is how most people stay broke. Why am I sharing all this? Well, because if you want to take a risk at any point in your life, if you genuinely want to take a risk, go after that small business. Pivot to a more fulfilling career. Start that YouTube channel. Go work at a ministry. Go work with with someone else's small business. Hey, you may not know I make music, but I have a brand new song that just came out. Here's a quick preview.
In a moment, I gotta overcompensate by building tabernacles. Why the world is rubbernecking Eve wanting an Adam's apple. Whoa there, why you wanna go there? Time to shut the door cause we letting out all the cold air.
Yo, Double R back, baby. It's not for Rolls Royce, it's for Rap Ruslan. Let's get it.
So hit the link in the description or go to RuslanToTheMoon.com to stream now. I'll see you over there.
Why you wanna go there? Living for the approval, the man will get you nowhere.
One of the most important things you gotta figure out how to do is to decrease your spending so that for a season you can decrease your income if you need to. Meaning that if an opportunity presents itself, for example, and so just say you're a lawyer and then you're like, oh, I feel this tug to go into ministry. Okay, well, you're making 120 as a lawyer, but you want to go into ministry. God's calling you to go to ministry. God's calling you to start a church. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out. I'm just hypothetical. And you're like, oh, I can't because I got to stick to this job that I hate now because I got to continue making these minimal student loan payments. And this is how people get stuck. This is how you don't get to move up and down. So if you are racked up with student loan debt, racked up with all this personal debt, racked up with all this life creep, you can't take the calculated risk to go after anything else, because if you do, everything can collapse. And this goes for anything. I mean, I use ministry as an example, but if you want to start a business, if you want to start a YouTube channel, if you want to start a music career, if you want all of these. And so what I was fortunate enough to do was, when we were in this process, we decreased our expenses to the point where, man, we could have survived off of $2,500 a month, right? With my wife staying home and a newborn baby in Southern California, right? Because we had no debt. There was no student loan debt. There was no car notes. There was no credit card. We decreased it to nothing. And so I knew that when I quit my job in 2015, well, worst comes to worst, I can go drive for Uber, right? And we had 6 months of living expenses. 6 months of living expenses. So we had, I think at the time, we had like $25,000 in the bank. So no debt, $25,000 in the bank. If your situation was like that and an opportunity presented itself to go after that music career, go after that small business, go after that thing that God's aligning, that changes the equation and it changes the possibilities of what you can do. Even if you got to suck it up and go, I'm not going to work this job because I'm going to buy my time back, but I'm going to go start this thing on the side, and worst comes to worst, I can go drive for Uber, Lyft, DoorDash, whatever for a season because I'm going to go take this risk, right? And that's the issue that people don't tell you about. Yes, stability is great, but sometimes stability comes with a lack of upside. You go work at some company, you get your salary, or you can go work at a startup. You can go work with someone else that could potentially have a way bigger upside if you're in on a company during the ground floor. All of this is intricately connected. And to me, less people starting businesses, less people going after their their passion in not in a follow your heart and follow your dreams goofy way, in a actual tangible, I feel like I have value to add to the marketplace, but I know I'm going to have a couple years of eating poop because it's hard. All of this is a negative on society when people aren't allowed to do these things because they have hundreds of thousands of dollars in student loan debt. Now, I'm always looking at it through the lens of someone that wants to be an entrepreneur, but maybe there are people that don't want to be an entrepreneur and they don't want to take that risk or whatever. And that's fine too. But these folks now have $1 million. Now, Zach, I think, it's going to sound crazy, hot take, and I'm pretty sure this is what Dave Ramsey told him.
Okay.
I think they could live on 50 and throw 175 towards the debt and be out of debt in 10 years.
Got to sell the cars.
Sell the
gotta sell
cars.
everything.
Got to beans and rice and beans, right?
Yep.
And then in your late 30s, now their income is going to go up, and maybe they have some flexibility in terms of what they want to do.
Yeah. So what did Sagar mean by like they'll never pay off the 330? Is that true? Or do they just don't have a big enough shovel to do so?
I don't know.
Or is that a theoretical?
I think it goes back to that word should.
Yeah.
If you should live in a nice, safe place, if you should have a reliable car. I think he's looking at it from that perspective. I think he's looking at it from a should, and the likelihood is that they won't.
Yeah.
Unless they do something completely radical. They would have to not only decrease their spending, like literally never go out, sell all their cars, like the whole bit, and they would probably have to go and do DoorDash on the side and like hustle
shovel
on the side, get a bigger shovel, and take that 230 to 350 or 300 by just working every waking hour. I mean, can they do that for 7 years of just intensity so that by the time they're 36, 37, they're debt free?
Start their own practice, their own consulting thing, their own whatever.
Yes. Possibly.
Possibly.
You know, but this is the trap that a lot of people are getting sucked into, is this student loan racket. And then before you know it, you wake up and I mean, this is an extreme example, but a lot of you guys' overhead is outlandish. You guys got a $700 car note, you got an $800 student loan, plus rent, plus food, plus all these different things. Where's the risk? Where's the margin? Where's the ability to go and do something, different? And if the opportunity presents itself, and it's, it sucks, but I think we're going to see more of this. Like, I think we're going to see more people. And part of it is just complete irresponsibility, but part of it is social engineering. Like, we're engineered to become, and I'm not trying to get conspiratorial, but like, I think people were engineered to be little worker bees.
Oh, 1,000%. That's not even a question. The Rockefeller established the modern public school system.
Yeah.
Was a billionaire during the industrial age. But he had a quote that went along the lines of like, I don't want thinkers, I want workers.
Yeah.
So he created the modern school system where they sit in the class, they go to the next thing, the bell. So when they're out of the school system, it's just like the industrial age.
Yeah.
That's the guy that funded the whole thing.
Yikes.
So that's not even a conspiracy. That's just facts.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is facts. My question is, like, I know somebody that works in some sort of like medical field, right?
Uh-huh.
And right now they make 16 an hour. And to make 30 an hour, they have to go get their PhD.
Mm-hmm.
So to go make 30 an hour, to like there's no upward mobility unless they get the certification because it's medical. Mm-hmm. And then they can make 30 to 50 with the tops of like, I think 55 in at that career. Mm-hmm. But they have to spend, and they'll have a total of $170,000 of student loan debt.
I wouldn't do it.
So what do you say to somebody that has found their passion, has found the thing that they enjoy, but it's the whole thing monetarily is just a trap?
Yeah, I don't know. I would say, can you cash flow it? Can you cash flow it? Can you figure out a way to cash flow some of it?
Yep.
That's what I would say.
Yeah.
My
thought is, you might not know it's your passion. You might have something else out there.
Yeah.
It's hard because it's like how, unless they start their own practice, which a lot of people don't have an entrepreneurial bone in their body. You can start your own practice and make millions. And that's the upside.
Yeah.
But just working for somebody and you have like a $50 an hour maximum with $170,000 student loans, it's kind of crazy in Southern California.
Yeah. And that's the
not
kicker.
50 in Minnesota.
That's the kicker, right? Is the Southern California. And so, I'm just watching the chat, and there's a lot of you guys that are already in debt right now in the chat. And I would just hope those of you guys that are not yet in debt, that you would stay out of debt and really hear the cautionary tale of all of this. Hey, this clip is from our daily after party stream. If you enjoyed it, consider signing up for our Patreon community for only $5 a month, where you get access to the replays of our daily after party streams, as well as the uncut extended versions of our podcast, Discord access that's private, and a discount code for our merch store, only $5 a month. And ultimately, it's the best way to help us contextualize the gospel of Jesus using media, podcasting, and of course, YouTube. The link for that is in the description or in the pinned comment. The perks are amazing. You should get on there. It's only $5 a month. I'll see you over there, all right? Peace.